Hi, my name is Wilx, and this is episode 9 of Project Ozone 3. Today we're going to spend most of our time on PneumaticCraft. First, we're going to learn how to make plastics so we can make the mechanism machine frames. Then we're going to show you how to pressurize a chamber after that. To pressurize the chamber, we're going to use an RFtools analog. That's a pretty interesting device that a lot of you people haven't looked at before. And a potentiometer from DE. And we're going to make a fluid crafter from IF. And we're going to make demon ingots, an infinite capacity upgrades for Yabba barrels, a machine frame from RFtools. We're going to use that machine frame to make a storage scanner. And finally, we're going to make a salamander's eye as well. So let's get started on PneumaticCraft. The first thing you have to know is how to make their iron, their compressed iron. So what we do is I'm going to take it over here to this little bit of water. Actually, let's go up a little bit higher just in case. And I'm going to take this stack of iron here. I've already done this with a whole pile of the other. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I've already did that with a stack of iron blocks. So I already have a lot of this stuff. But notice I threw in 64, I got 51 back. That's about average for the stuff. But that's how you make it. The water was just to stop the explosion. It's way off over here in the corner because I just didn't trust my aim. And I didn't want to blow up anything important. Alright, so once you know how to make the iron, you can start making these pressurized tubes. Now I already have a whole pile of them, so I don't need any more right now. But I use them in making some of these other things, so that's why I think that was a whole stack before. Now I'm going to make 3 refineries. We only need 2 refineries for what I'm going to do, but the third one is just for the quest. Then, next up, we're going to make 2 thermopneumatic processing plants. How are we doing on those quests? Let's check. It's down pi, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so we got both of those. Next, we're going to make the plastic mixer. Now, we're going to do it a little bit different way. Most people do it with pressure to make the plastics. I'm going to do it with heat from lava instead. So I'm making 4 fluid placers. You only need 3 if you're just making plastic. If you're not going to be going on to pressurize later, you don't need the 4th. And the same with the auto breakers. You only need 3 if you're just doing plastics. While we're here, we might as well. So now we're moving on to part 2. You don't need any of this stuff if you're just making plastics. But to do the other stuff, we need an air compressor. I'm going to make. I don't need 4 of them. I need 1 of them. And I don't need 4 of these. I only need 1 of these as well. So what we do is we put it in there, and we get a liquid air compressor. That allows us to use lava. That's how we create the pressure. The reason they're left over like that is I had completely done this video before using all pressure instead of lava. And then I looked at it and I go, no, there's a much better way to do this. We're going to need a pressure gauge tube module to tell us how much pressure is in the line. We're going to use an analog from RFtools. I found this thing quite interesting. You'll see later on what I'm talking about. And we're going to need a potentiometer just to give us a signal at a particular level. And we'll put in a couple of security upgrades to make sure I don't blow anything up by making a mistake in my pressure. We'll make a fluid crafter from industrial foregoing. This is to make some lubricant. Sorry, not to make lubricant, to make speed upgrades. Now you're going to need 3 sets of these. I've already made one, but there's the other 2. We need 16 of the glass. We need 1 of these. And why is there 15? Oh, you're right. That was just the extras. Because we actually need 40 to build the thing. I needed 3 more, so I was short a couple to make that. And we'll come back and do the rest of that stuff later. Okay. So now we're armed with all the stuff. Let's go over. I'm going to do it by where I put my cows down. Now, the way I have it set up is it's chunk loaded out to here, out to this line. When it changes, none of this is chunk loaded. I don't need the PneumaticCraft stuff chunk loaded. I don't think it's necessary. So I didn't bother with that. Now, what we're going to start with is going to be these things. Auto breakers and the fluid placers. Which way do these goes down? I forget now. Is it like this? Yes. Put our 4 fluid placers along like that. Then we'll come over here and we'll put down our breakers. And good, that's not turned on yet. That's good. Okay. Give me a break. Let me up. Okay. So I need some sort of a block. That'll do. Just as a placeholder. And we'll put 2 of those up like that. Not 4. A lot of people will be tempted to put up 4, and I'll show you why in a sec. But I'm going to place all my stuff. We're going to put fluid transfer nodes. Okay, so there's going to be a fluid transfer node go there, a drum go there, and fluid transfer there. By the way, if somebody knows what happened, I blew it. I don't know what I changed, but normally if I pressed Control and placed one of these, that should be red, not green. I think I changed something in my controls, and I don't remember what it was because I changed it a long time ago and then found this problem. Tell me what key you think it is or what it is that's causing it so that I can't put these on in reverse anymore. But we'll put that. Whoops. No, it doesn't go there. It doesn't go there. What am I doing? It has to come around over here, I guess. Put a barrel there. Okay. We need to put down some of these. That's already got the thing on it. Okay. That goes there. Then a fluid guy goes there. And a plastic mixer goes here. I guess I'm doing too much stuff and not explaining what I'm doing. When I start this up, there's going to be lava underneath, and it's going to supply the heat to run these things. And in here, I've set up 2 of them. So this one will end up being diesel, and that one will end up being LPG. The LPG will be the top one here, the bottom one will be diesel. Now, a lot of people want to set it up as 4 instead. So if we go here and use, what they'll do is they'll get diesel, kerosene, fuel, and LPG. I'm not 100% sure what I'd want to do with kerosene and fuel. You can take kerosene and process it to turn it into fuel. And you can take fuel and process it to turn it into LPG. So I could get more LPG that way, but I'm going to get lots of it pretty fast for the little bit of plastic that I need. So I don't care. I don't want to build all the extra machines to process this stuff. I'd rather just deal with that. And I'd like a whole bunch of extra diesel, because I'm going to use the diesel to make lubricant, to make speed upgrades. These guys here. I need lubricant to do that. And so the LPG is going to go up there, going to come down into this. LPG is going to go in there, and then we're going to add in, I think that's coal, isn't it? I better double check. Use, where are we here? Use, yeah, coal gets us plastic. So in here, we're going to need to stick coal. Then that plastic is going to get moved over here, and in this, we're going to want to put all these dyes. Like that. All right, that's all set up. Then over here, we're going to put down another one of these guys. And I'll put one of those on this side. And I guess I'm going to need a proper conduit to get from there to there. And you get nothing. You get to be an extract all the time. You get to be only an insert. So the diesel's going to come out here, go into this, and this, we need a use on that thing again. I think it's redstone if I remember correctly, but I better double check. Where is there? Use. Diesel turns into lubricant with redstone. So we're going to go in here and we're going to put in some redstone. And then we're going to have all this come over here to an auto crafter. But I need some lubricant first. So I'm not putting down the auto crafter yet, because I need a bucket of lubricant first before I place it. So that looks like it's pretty much ready to go. So we'll come down here and take that, always active. As you can see, it placed lava all the way along. Now as this lava is used, it's going to eventually, see, it turned into obsidian. So it uses some up, and then the block breaker breaks it and brings over the obsidian and puts it in this chest here. So this thing here, oh, we're using all that stuff, and we're not, actually I should have moved this over. That was dumb. Where'd that go? I should have put it on this side. I should have done it before this. Then we're going to take put that there. Put you on always active, extract. Now you filled up with that and you're starting to create diesel and LPG. Now, the other way to do this would have been to use, where are we here? These vortex tubes, and you put those up against either anything that needs to be heated, and you put something like a heat sink on the other side. And if you apply pressure to the vortex tube, it'll start to heat things up. But it takes it a damn while to do it. Whereas hopefully this is going a lot quicker. Because actually it should all be going into here. So if we look in here, we've already created our first lubricant. And if we only had one of those air compressors doing this, it would have taken forever. Even for them, it would have taken a while. But we'll get more into that later. The lava's a lot quicker. So we need one bucket of this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place down a fluid crafter. And you're getting power, right? Actually, I don't even know if this needs power. Doesn't look like it does. Oh well. And we're going to put that in the center. And then we're going to combine it with lapis and sugar. And it's going to go like that. And we lock the inventory, and it starts making us the speed upgrades. Okay, over here, this has been making plastic, and we got a whole bunch of plastic in here. So, now that we have our plastic, this is how you make it. You take the plastic section here. Now you can select one of these and lock it on that particular one. Or you can just make them one at a time by placing it. Now, if we look at the machine, that's our RFtools machine frame. Steel casing for mechanism, we need gray plastic to make them. So we come over here, and we go gray plastic, and if we press on it once, see it's made one of them. If we press on it 3 more times, we've got 4 gray plastic. That's enough to make a machine, one of those steel casings. Well, let's do it a few more times. Now we've got enough to do 3 of them. And that's how we get our plastic. That's simple. This is about the simplest way I can think of to set one of these things up. This, however, is for a different purpose. We are making ourselves some speed upgrades, and we can just let it do its thing for a little while. Okay, but no PneumaticCraft thing is complete without showing you how to make a cube. I don't plan on using it this episode, but I think we should at least make one and show you how to pressurize it. Because that was actually the most interesting thing about my last episode when I was doing it, was how I controlled my pressure. So you can make it as a 3x3 or a 5x5. I'm making a 4x4. The reason I'm doing it that way is a 3x3 has trouble with being stable on pressure. But if you do it as a 4x4, it is much more stable. A 5x5 takes an awful lot of materials, and unless you're going to be doing an awful lot with PneumaticCraft, it seems like sort of a waste of materials. But this looks pretty good for here. Now we're going to take 2 pressure interfaces, and we're going to put one down like, which one's which? I forget. Input, good. And then we're going to go in reverse, place this one down. See how it says output there? So that's going to be the output. And then you just drop down. I'm not going to go into a lot of work on how you set up the filtering and stuff on these, just mostly how to pressurize it. And so you would set that to an insert, and that's the other way around, and set them up so they could auto pull in and out. Then the other interesting block here is this one for pressure. And then we're just going to fill in the rest of this with glass so that we can see what's going on inside. Okay, so all of that is pretty standard. Any video you've ever seen on this, including my Project Ozone 2, would look just like that. Here's where we get a little bit different. So we're going to use one of these instead of the type that, oh, whoops, we can't place it that direction. We've got to place it the other way. Yeah, so that is all connected up to it. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to take and put that there. We're going to change you to be insert only. And you're going to be extract always. Where am I losing pressure? Oh, I guess we're going to want to fill on the top here. Whoops. I knew I forgot something. Okay, we're good on that. Now, we're going to take that little meter thing that we made here, this gauge, and we're going to slap it right there. Now that tells us how much pressure is in the line. So this thing is producing 10 milliliters per tick. It's going to take forever. Just one of these would take forever to fill up that room, because we're only at 0.1 bar in here so far. And it's working its little heart out, but it's not going to get there very fast. Oh, I know we're nowhere near that, but that just stops it from blowing up if I make a mistake and put too much pressure in it. And we can do the same over here as well. But we're going to speed this thing up with speed upgrades. And so I need to set up a control for it. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to take this analog. Let's see if I can get lined up properly so that it places right first try. And of course it didn't place right. We want the output to be there. So, just so that you don't get confused when we're looking at this thing. See, the orange is pointing at me. Now, when I first saw this thing, I knew this thing could do what I wanted it to, but I had no idea how to use it. And I couldn't find any documentation online. Now, it's all in the interface, but it took me a while, much longer than I care to admit, to figure out how to use it. So I was just staring at the screen for like 5-10 minutes before I finally went, aha, I know how it works. Which I feel foolish that it took me that long, because I can explain it to you, and it's all actually quite simple. The way it works is you've got an input for the blue over there, and it's going to compare an A and a B, and then output to the O. So if we make this here a 0, and that there a 0, actually we'll make this one a 0 too, but actually to make the explanation a little bit easier, let's also place down our potentiometer. And we're going to place it here. Now, the way this thing works is it outputs a signal depending on how much. It's at 0.3 right now. We want it to get up to 4.5. But the signal it puts out is double the amount that it is. So if the pressure's at 4.5, the signal it'll put out is a 9. So we want it to stop when it gets to 9 and not keep going. So over here, we're going to take this thing and we're going to right click it. Watch down on the bottom left hand corner. See the numbers going up? We're going to take it up to a 9. So this thing is constantly putting out a signal of 9 on all sides all the time. So in here, we know that A is set to 9. And as long as B is less than 9, we want it to put out a signal and turn this on. So we'll make it a signal of 15. That's a full signal. And then we're going to turn around and change this to redstone controlled. And it only functions on a high signal. Now, since in the logic here, A is greater than B, it's currently outputting the signal, and this thing is running, making pressure. So far, so good, right? So that's the simplest form of how to use this. Now let's do it a different way. But we can accomplish the same thing, but I'd like to be able to turn this whole thing off with a lever. So let's do it a little differently. Let's take a lever, and we'll put a lever down here on this side. Now it's turned off right now. We'll turn it on. So that lever is putting out a signal of 15 right now. So if we come down here, we can change that to a 0, and that to a 1. And now what's happening is because A is greater than B, the signal here of 15 equals, so the input equals 15 times 1, which is 15 plus 0. It's outputting 15 again. It's just a different way of doing it. Now, if I turn off the lever, this is no longer creating pressure. It's not going up at all anymore, right? So I can control it with an on-off lever now. So you can do it for all sorts of different cases, like, where A equals B, and I could add that one in if I wanted. If I wanted it to still keep going at 4.5 and turn off when it hits like 4.6, then I could put a 1 in here. And now it's greater than or equal to either one of those cases, and it gets a signal. But that's how you use the analog. All right, so now let's make this thing go faster. 15. Actually, I didn't need that many. I only need like 8. I wasn't counting correctly. So now, if we can see, our pressure here is 10 at this point. If we put one of these in, it goes to 15. Two of these in, 23, 34, 51, 76, 114, 171, 256. See, it was going up like exponentially, right? Like 1.5 times or something each time. I didn't do the math. I don't know. I was sort of guessing there. So now, this thing's making all sorts of pressure. And as you can see, our pressure's going up much quicker now. You can actually see the dial moving. I don't need to make 10 of these. One of these with enough speed upgrades is plenty of pressure to get this thing up and keep it up the whole time. And even when we start crafting things, it'll refill it pretty much right away. But I don't know of anything I need to make with this pressure chamber right now, so that's pretty much it for this explanation. Why are you not turning off? You have steam escaping. Well, that's not right. Enable on a high signal. Something's wrong over here. If A equals B. I wonder why that didn't work. It's working now. Problem solved. But why would the A equals B if A was greater than B? If B was greater than A, that shouldn't be true anymore. Huh. I don't know. So don't use that part. Just use the greater than here. That works. And as you can see, this thing is not creating any pressure at this point in time. And once it gets down under 4.5 bars, then it's going to go back to working again. But it shut itself off for right now. All right, so that's it for over here. Let's go back and do the other odds and ends of what we had to do. Okay, demon ingots. Whole bunch of you had to mention that I said iron when I should have said gold. Oops, sorry. So let's go make ourselves some demon ingots. I did it over here because I wanted to be near water. Now, a lot of you, give me a break. A lot of you suggested that I needed to say gold instead of iron. But I'm going to give credit to Ian Mosley because he suggested you can actually make this in the overworld. You don't need to be in the nether to do it. So let's toss in 10 gold and see what we get. We got back 9. That's pretty good. I would have expected maybe 8. So that's how you make the demon ingots. And this is nether bricks all around. I don't need any more of these on me right now. Or any more of that. Okay, so I made a whole bunch of these demonic gargantuan drums. And they hold a whole pile of fluid. Where's an example of where I'm using one? Over here. Is this empty now? Yes, you're empty. I can get rid of you now. Oh, and I deliberately want to get rid of these. Why are you not breaking? What's going on? I don't know why that was doing it like that. So anyways, it was suggested to me by someone on Reddit that these things cause a lot of lag. And when I did some testing, they did. They were causing way more lag than they should. Now, they're faster than something like item condoms with full speed upgrades. But I didn't want the amount of lag that they were creating. All right. Oh, what I brought you over here to show you was the drum. Yeah, it can hold 65 million. All right. The other thing that was suggested to me was infinite capacity upgrades. And a whole pile of you suggested that. And suggested that the way I do it is with one nether star and you get like 64 of them. Now, I do have a few nether stars right now, but they're still dear to me. Diamonds mean nothing to me. I've got crops for diamonds. They're worthless. I've got an emerald drawer full of them. So I'd rather just make it waste all those diamonds to make them. Because these things, they cost nothing too. Yeah, I'm getting piles of paper as well. So we'll make the infinite capacity that way. That's until I get, I'll make some Yabba barrels to put them in. And I'll switch over the stuff on the plants with that. I won't show you it, but now I can do it. So I can get rid of those quantum storage so that when they go away, I don't lose everything in them. When these things go, the quantum tanks and quantum storage goes away. So it's just the quantum storage, not the quantum flux stuff that's going. This is, oh, that's random things anyways. And that was suggested by Need Your Life, that I get one of these. I didn't even notice it sitting in the in JEI. And that's for your inventory. And these things, you go up through the various different levels. Once you know how to make the string and the Spectre ingots, they're easy. So we'll make one of those, put it on our bar. I'll hold shift, right click. That powers it up. Now it's going to power everything in my inventory. And we're going to take the bobble slot. Oh, flexomagnet. Because this thing has to go in that particular spot. Flexomagnet can go anywhere. Now the way I had been using the flexomagnet up till now, which I showed you before, where I just toss something off in the distance. And then I'd point at it, right click, and it could suck it up from 64 blocks away. But if I take and press V, you've got to make sure you don't have conflicts. V, I can toss something. Actually, let's get away from it. Okay. So, that's there. So that's pulling from 8 away. Whereas the other magnets pull from a much shorter distance. But I don't like having it on all the time. It has a tendency to pick up things I don't want it to. So I'm just going to shut it off for now. But when I do want to activate a magnet and put it in my baubles, that's what I'm going to use. The other option was the dislocator. That was a suggestion from Oz, the dislocators from Draconic Evolution. And it also has a range of 8. Whereas the other magnets, like the one I made, this thing here, is a range of 5. All right. What else are we going to do today? Oh, yeah. Machine frames from RFtools. The Morgaine. Yeah, Morgaine. I doubled it by putting in the smeltery. A lot of the other normal doubling methods don't work for this stuff. So I'm going to make 8 of those RFtools machine frames. And we'll use one of them right away to put it here. And that makes a storage scanner. Now, I've used this in a couple of different series now. For instance, I used it in Continuum. But let me show you what we're going to do with that. We're going to come along here, break that there, place it here. And this thing needs power, which it's not getting right now. So it doesn't need very much power. So let's come down here and we will get out one of... I found it this time. I didn't search forever and not find it. Yay. I guess I can put it right there. So now this thing is getting power. Now we want to scan a fair ways away, but not too far. For instance, I don't want to get this one. And I think it works on the diagonals. So 3 should be okay. So we're going to do up to 3 away, not 4. We're going to scan. And it shows all of these. And so in this one, we've got those. Yep, that can be. That's good. That's good. We'll skip all those. Fine. Yep, that we can do as well. Guess I could do the ground traps, but I don't really care. Alright, so now I've got all those that I want routable. And if I go there, hold on a second. All routable. There we go. With the V pressed down. And I can see all of those drawers in one shot now. And I can craft stuff over here and use the numbers, like I can make 1 of them or 4 of them or 8 of them or a stack of them and do it that way. And I can just dump stuff in, pull stuff out, whatever I want. So let's say I wanted to just get rid of some. Where does it go? There? Yeah. And it'll just find somewhere to stick it. So that means that I don't need to get a AE system right away. It doesn't really, AE doesn't matter until I start getting to auto crafting or something. I can just use this thing to do my crafting and storage and stuff. All right, last thing. Salamander eye. That was suggested by Resistant Traveler. And as you can see, it dispels blaze fireballs and reflects gas fireballs. It also works on those things that attack you in Landia and stuff. So this thing, the way you use it, I believe, I haven't actually really tried it out yet. I'm just making it now. What the hell? Why is it making a noise? Didn't do that before. I don't know what that noise is. Does it do that all the time? Oh God, that'd drive me insane. There is one thing I forgot to do. Just a little bit of maintenance, and I don't want people saying, hey, in the comments, you forgot to reconnect your barrel or your drum. Over here, and I'll tell you why I thought of this. We want that to be a push. And you are no longer an anything. Okay, the reason I thought of this was Lyric had suggested that I could use a fluid transfer add-on in this and have it push all the fluid up that way. But I decided to keep this the tank. The reason I kept the tank is because I wanted to be able to do a number of different types of cows, or fluid cows, and put different types of drums around it, rather than just have it feeding into one. All right, so I guess that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Go out there and have some fun. Thanks.